day, everyone. You're welcome to the Oluwatoyin Ibironke Durojaiye Foundation talk series. My name is Dr. Lara Babajide, and today I'm going to be speaking on child abuse. What is child abuse? Child abuse is physical maltreatment or neglect of a child. It's actually broad, but whatever makes a child uncomfortable, whatever makes a child feel like possibly like an adult, or when a child cannot consider him or herself as a child again, is a maltreatment. It's a form of degradation of a child. It's molestation of a child. In the course of this presentation, we're going to look at forms of abuse. When you consider physical, in some part of the world, children are often either flogged or beaten. Even for minor offenses, this can be considered as a form of abuse. It's not everything a child does that should warrant any kind of flogging or raising a voice at the child or mentioning degrading words on the child. There's sexual abuse. There have been different forms of child molestation, like when an adult touches a child unceremoniously and possibly privately, then it's a sexual abuse. Or the full molestation of it is unacceptable to any society at all. Emotional abuse is when a child is made to feel worthless, telling a child that nothing good can come out of the child. It's an emotional abuse and it's not acceptable. There is the medical abuse. Right from when a child is born, the parents are expected to take the child for medical checkups. There are different programs whereby the mother is expected to make sure that the child gets the necessary immunization. It's amazing to know that in the current world we have, there are still children that are being deprived of these basic medical facilities, even when they are provided free. It's something the society should take into serious consideration. Next is neglect. When a child is neglected, is not made to feel worthy, the necessary, taking a child out, taking a child for different programs that would develop the child mentally, is not there. It's neglect and it's an abuse. What are the symptoms of child abuse? Hostility and quietness. Many times when a child becomes so quiet or is hostile, any nearby adult should try to ask questions. Honestly, from my own background, there is always the saying that when a parent gives back to a child, the society is expected to raise that child together. So even if you are not the biological parent, you are not the teacher, you are not the aunt, you are just somebody there that observes that this child, it becomes so quiet, is hostile. There is no harm in saying something. There is no harm in asking questions. If you cannot go to the child directly, you can also look for whoever has an authority over the child and ask questions. Then sometimes children become aggressive. When a child becomes unnecessarily aggressive, is not calm, either in school, at home, or anywhere the child have access to, it's a symptom of child abuse. Also, if a child has sleep problems, mentioning nightmares and all that, I know that can easily be brushed under the carpet, but it shouldn't. Honestly, when a child is sleepless, there must be something. Those of us that are mothers and who have raised children we know that if you are raising a child and you discover that for a whole night that child is not sleeping, there is something definitely wrong. The child could be having pain. The child may not be comfortable on the bed. The child may be having, if it's a little bit older child, may be having nightmares. So all those things are really symptoms that we should look into. Then unusual fears or less of self-confidence. When a child, possibly when the door opens, the child triggers, or when the child hears a particular voice, the child triggers, and you discover that the child does not have any kind of self-confidence. One great thing that parents and the society must instill in a child is confidence. If a child does not have self-confidence, that child, one, will not be able to say what is wrong with them. That child would basically live with molestation and fear. Then frequent absences from school. When a child frequently misses school, there could be, and it's possibly that there is a form of abuse, and it should be noted. That should be questioned. Or when a child performs poorly in school. Sometimes lower performance in school could be the child is not being fed well, the child is not being clothed well, the child doesn't have a good place to sleep. I mean, the general basic things that a child should have, it's not there. Then hyperactivity. Sometimes children react to abuse by being hyperactive. The child keeps breaking this, breaking that, throwing things all over the ground and everything. Yeah, it's a serious sign of child abuse. How do we address child abuse? You must know what child abuse is. You must know. If you don't know what is child abuse, then there's a possibility, even as a parent, not to know that the child is giving out some signs, which could be signs of abuse. And honestly, let us always encourage the child to declare what happened. Let's encourage the child. Let's ask questions. As a parent, you should be able to ask a child, how was school today? What happened? How was your teacher? How were your classmates? Did you have a nice time? Did you have a good time? Those are things that will let you know if a child has a problem, and you take it up from there. Then remain calm when you're talking to a child. Remain calm. Children always look out for eye contact. If you look straight into a child and you ask a child, please tell me what happened today. What did this person do to you? What did that do to you? Or what did mom do to you? Or what did uncle do to you? Or aunt do to you? What did they do? You will, if you are calm and loving and patient, you will be able to get into the child and to also help the child. Then we should report abuse. Every child abuse should be reported to the appropriate authorities. These authorities differ from countries to countries. Don't slide it under the carpet. Children are the future. Children are people who are going to take over from the current adults. And I believe that every adult looks for a good tomorrow. When your bones are weak, when you can no more be there, a child that passed through you, either as a student, either as your child, either a child you met in the course of life, there are people who are going to take over. There are people you are going to meet everywhere. You're going to meet them as your nurse. You're going to meet them as your doctor. For people who are going to be in nursing home, you're going to meet them there. You meet them everywhere. You meet them in parastatals. You meet them where you need help. So why don't we put our hands together and make sure that we report every child abuse? There are prevention programs that can help. If somebody is trying to make sure a child abuse is not reported, you should correct that. Then we should also support prevention programs. Whenever there are programs that are set out there to help child abuse, we should support them. There are programs that are meant to help sick children. There are motherless children's program. Name it. There are quite a handful of it. Let's try and make sure that at least we support one. Then educate yourself. What you don't know, you don't know. Even if you are a parent, what you know, you know. Educate yourself. What are the intricacies of a child abuse? How can I help? What can I do? Offer comfort. Comfort is very, very important. When a child is being abused, the first thing that child will want and will like will be comfort and help the child feel safe. I see on social media where there are different experiments on if somebody will talk when a child is being molested, and it's been very positive because people have always responded. Every child matters. Every child. You cannot abuse a child based on his or her race. No matter what race a child comes from, a child is a child. And we have to show our love to these children. It does not matter. It does not matter. Ethnicity does not matter. Some people are so overwhelmed with race and ethnicity that they have forgotten that we're all human. No matter who you are, no matter highly placed you are, no matter your color, no matter your background, we are human. So every child matters. The gender of a child does not mean the child should be maltreated. In some of our African societies, a female child is always degraded, while the male child is always made to feel, oh, you are going to grow up to be the husband, so you don't need to cook, you don't need to do any domestic chores. Is the girl child that should do it. I know things are changing today because the girl child are the girl children are now coming up to become important personalities in the society. But at the same time, we cannot still undermine the fact that there are still groups that still feel no matter how well-read a girl child becomes, everything around that girl child should just revolve around the kitchen. That is impossible. A child cannot be discriminated against based on their gender or background. Many times people children from low background have grown up to become recognized people in the society. They have become the voice of the society. We need to treat every child equally. Don't abuse a child based on their his or her parental status. No, it should not be. It should not be. No matter what the status of a child is, that child needs to be respected and be treated well. Let's say we have a social group of children, and you know that there's a particular child that the parents would drive in with the best of cars, and there's another child that the parents would take a bus to drop off. Treat each of these children very well. Respect them. You never know what a child can become in life. So it is important to make sure that either consciously or unconsciously, we are not abusing a child. Then vulnerability. Some children are just vulnerable. Let's take the environment a child lives in. There are adults who abuse children only because their parents do not have the money to live in good apartments. They don't have the money to give those children good food, so they take advantage of them. This is unacceptable. No matter where a child is raised, which makes that child vulnerable. It is important for us as a society, as adults, to make sure that we treat those children with caution. Let's run away from any kind of child molestation. Because you know that the parents of a child are not usually home, it doesn't give you the audacity to keep sending that child on unwelcoming errands. Sending a little child to another adult, it's wrong. To another adult, and not just an ordinary sending with a bias, sending that has a very big questioning. You cannot abuse a child based on their social economic status. Like I always say, in these presentations, we cannot exhaust this topic. If you have any question, if you have an idea, if you think you want us to elaborate more on some of these topics, feel free to send us a note, send us a message. Thank you for listening.